season in Colorado. Oh, man, did they get themselves a good player.
Domino effect, perhaps, with other teams getting involved. Leach and Samuelson, as John forecast, start the game because it's the big line for Philadelphia. Keith Jones, John LeClair, Eric Lindros, and Lindros with a shot that's deflected away by Wolf Samuelson. LeClair tipped one and then rammed high and hard with Samuelson. LeClair working him over again. Meanwhile, the puck turned on to Lindros. Lindros shakes it back over for the turn by Jones. The take by LeClair, and he put it off Richter, and then it's floated back on by Graves. Petr Nedved bringing it on for the Rangers. Nedved forced off.
Twice on this shift, the Rangers got to the Flyers' blue line and could not get the puck deep. Finally, they do there, and it's offside. John McLean tried on the very first portion of the game. Quick turnover, and all of a sudden the puck's in the Rangers zone, and you have Lindros, LeClair, and Jones cycling and trying to get the puck to the front. It did once, and Mike Richter was there with his goal stick. So an emotional start, I think, and a good sign for the Flyers. LeClair, Lindros, and Jones get the cycle going, get the forecheck going, and the first big hit was Samuelson and LeClair. Just what we expected.
Exactly, and a tradition, as you'll recall, to your playing days.
And for the Rangers, they better get the puck deep at the other team's blue line, or they're going to pay a big price.
Langkow, Zelapukin, and Jody Hull. Hull with the puck now, dropping it to the Zelapukin corner. He went down wanting to buy a penalty, but there'll be none. This is the end of February. Last time that there can be two officials, at least till that is looked for a little more and examined by the league. We're fully expecting to see a lot of it at important times.
We'll see it in the playoffs, I think, Mike.
Indeed.
2 referees per game.
Hall dropped it around. Zelapukin there, rocked and held to the boards by Scott Frazier. Langkow dug it out. Met there by Rumenender. On the outside, it's Hull with a shot. That blocked back. And then a shot by McGillis deflected wide. Centering attempt blocked off by Ender, playing in his 9th Ranger game after 8 earlier this year with Buffalo.
So 2 good forechecking shifts so far by the Flyers, yet no shots on goal. The forecheck's there, but they haven't got the puck to the quality ice.
Van Beesbrook with a big save, and another try that went off Mike Knuble. Boy, did he ever let it go. A stick was broken, but it was not Knuble's. Loaded back on by Schneider, grabbed off by the Flyers defense and given up again. It's Malhotra flipping one. Controlled to the corner by Sundstrom. Back on for Manny Malhotra. Schneider with a big hit, but it may be a 2-on-1 for the Flyers, and it is. Renberg with a pass that's blocked off by Tamer. Renberg fed it back in front, but it's grabbed off and laid back out by Schneider.
Yeah, it looks like a Flyer Ranger game. Great start. Good save by Van Beesbrook on Knuble, who was the recipient of a turnover.
Rod Brindamore for the Flyers. Got it on a round. Forbes put it behind. Thrown in front by Kovalenko to Brindamore, and the shot deflected wide. Tamer punched it right back. The old-timers teams from both of these franchises are going to play after this one. Yeah, why are you chuckling so maniacally?
It won't be this quick, but it might be just as much fun.
And as intense. On comes Leach, swept nicely away by the defense of Chris Therien, and brought back with the Flyers headman pass, and it went off Colin Forbes' stick. Forbes sized up and rammed by Samuelson. Meanwhile, it's pitched on by Leach, kept alive by Desjardins. Dropped it behind. Wolf Samuelson rammed hard by Forbes. Flyers with some heavy hitting early. Desjardins dubbed a shot, and it was outside anyway, and so the play is stopped. Early interesting stages, first period, no score.
Only shot we've seen in the game. A lot of action, but not many shots.
Nedved up front for the Rangers. John McLean on one side, Adam Graves on the other. In the defense, Leach and Samuelson, because it's Lindros and LeClair and Jones. A couple of players overskate, but it's carried away for the play to be made by McLean. Got it out to Desjardins.
The Flyers are coming off a loss in Tampa Bay. They did not have a very good face-off game there, and that's out of character for them. They are exceptional at winning draws, and we'll watch for that as the game moves along.
56% in that. Here is a collision, and Lindros fed, but through LeClair.
Wolf Samuelson took a run at Lindros, lost his stick and everything.
Comes to the bench for a change in players. Rich Brennan able to knock it away nicely from Lindros and then hand pass it ahead. Rich Brennan, one of several players recently called up by the Rangers from their American Hockey League farm team in Hartford. Jody Hull brings it on. The Lindros line is on its way off. Worked in deep, and Brennan back to take. Turns it on to Ruben Ender. Ender back on for Kevin Stevens, and Stevens' pass skipped loose. Flipped back out by Tertishny. Worked back ahead for control, and then it's knocked back aside for Valeri Zelepukin. Trickled around behind. Hull tried to play it there. Knocked loose for a turnaround shot that deflected wide as Langkow pulled the trigger, but the Rangers got in the way of it. Turned around behind. Brennan with some trouble. Ender fighting his way free and able to knock it along. Savard angled it too far. Tertishny just banged it back, taken by Stevens, finessed onto Savard, and again back into the Flyers' end. Stevens has just gotten up and gone to the bench from a hit. Good crunching here in the first 5 minutes. No score in the game. Shots on goal, 1-0 Rangers. I had to look at that a second time, John. 1-0 Rangers the shots, and that was the turnover that you just illustrated. Two-line pass, play stopped.
Earlier we talked about Ulf Samuelsson taking a run at Eric Lindros. Watch Lindros. He kind of gets screened out. There he is, driving to the front, and Samuelsson left his feet, took a run at him and everything. Now, face-off wise, Lindros was telling us before the game he loves to go to the backhand as much as he can. Pull it back, pull it back, pull it back. Philly 1, Detroit 2, Dallas sold. Number 6 opposite Brindamore. Veteran, tough, intelligent, good player, great player. This will be an interesting matchup for the kid.
Had a wonderful game against Phoenix. Bouncing puck came all the way near Malhotra. Uniform number 6. Turned back on the cycle to Malhotra again. Wanted to jam for Knuble. Worked free by Rod Brindamore and punched out to neutral ice. Michael Renberg brings it ahead. Renberg shot one, calmly blocked away by Mike Richter. Lifted along by Knuble. Bouncer kicked along free. Oh, what a heavy hit across the way, and Malhotra is the guy that applied it. He comes to the ice and then drifts into the bench now for a change in line.
There's a hit on Dykhouse. It didn't bother him at all. The Flyers are being really diligent about the game here. No retaliation penalties. A lot of cycle. They just haven't gotten the offense going yet.
Ender and Lacroix with the 2 hits you just noticed. Both of them are Rangers. Flip back near Lacroix, kept by Ender. Popped right back to the corner. Desjardins there. Desjardins shook his way by Dubé. Dropped it back over. Mark Bureau tries to tip it further, and it's nudged back out by Roman Vopak.
Like, you get a sense everything in this game is quick. And everything that's happened so far is just quick, 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 quick. Kind of like that. But, again, the shots are only one apiece.
One thing that was said last year that is still occasionally said about the Rangers is the age factor on the team, but it's been made a lot lighter lately, especially with some of the players that have come up that are very youthful from Hartford. Dan McGillis, bothered by a neck, but playing today. Try to center. Vopak tried that. That failed. Bureau the same. It comes to Vopak. Wanted to throw it in front, but it's grabbed off and started out by Dubé. Nudged on for the drop back in by Brent Fettig. 7 minutes played first period. A shot apiece, but it sure hasn't been dull. Laid back on now for Jones, hustled ahead but for Lindros, but a good spike by McLean, and it came to Ulf Samuelsson.
And Nedved again on Lindros. Nedved said he played against Lindros a number of times when he was playing in Pittsburgh.
Here's an attempt by Leclerc, back onto Jones, tripped up on the play. Jones trying to stick handle from his knees. Leclerc moved in. All aggressiveness dumped around behind. Jones there for Lindros. He scores!
What a nice goal. Beautiful goal.
And the spotlight has been on him, and very brightly, through the first 6 and a fraction years of his career. Not to mention Olympics in '92, as well as in '98 over in Nagano, Japan. Played by Savard. The return is tipped over 2 lines for Kevin Stevens, and so Lindros has the only goal early in this contest. With a pass ahead. Worked back across for the carry by Stevens in the hand to Savard. For Stevens across. Oh, and breaking down the wing was Scott Fraser, but he got locked up by the checking forward.
And the pass went into his skates.
And it's pitched up into the seats.
Richardson just gave Savard a shot, maybe a penalty.
Meanwhile, let's check in on some other NHL action with Chris Myers.
All right, the Kings trying to hang around in the playoff picture, playing in Dallas. Kings have struggled against the Stars. Off the pass from Verbeek. Watch Joe Nieuwendyk slip it past Stefan Fisaya's 13th. Dallas with a 1-0 lead. The Kings have not beaten Dallas in 15 straight, and they're already behind.
The salute to Mighty Joe, and a gentleman by the name of Doug Lidster is now a star.
How about this, Mike? As you see, Luke Richardson in 2 minutes for roughing. The other night, the Rangers were playing in Calgary, and we on MSG Network, the network that covers the Rangers, did an interview with Doug Lidster. And Lidster was talking about playing for the Canadian national team, etc. Well, Bob Gainey, who runs Dallas, George McPhee, who runs
What a turnaround on John Van Beesbrook, just trying to lift the puck away, and it caroms off a Ranger and in. We'll get to that Dallas story in a moment, but Adam Graves has tied it up. And it is a power play goal.
This is a very strange power play goal. From the faceoff, the Rangers start on the power play. And as the puck is moved in, Van Beesbrook reads it to fire it away, and it hits Adam Graves and goes in. Graves is having a great year, but this is one of the strangest goals you'll see him score. He was actually turning away a little bit so he didn't get hit in the face. It hit him in the thigh, and the puck beat Therrien to the goal line and across 1-1. Van Beesbrook, he very seldom has trouble handling the puck. He did on that play, and we're tied up at 1.
The second Ranger shot on goal just as the Flyers had their second and scored on it. And that's been it. 4 total shots in the game. Puck scaled back off, hoping to work it on to Sundstrom, but instead Rod Brind'Amour burrows into the corner. Locked up there by Malhotra. Kicked back over to Sundstrom and started ahead to Fedek. Lob back in, hustling back to play Mike Knuble. Knuble locked up in the corner. Still working, puck kicked back along, but came over for Andrei Kovalenko. Still looking for his first point as a Flyer, Kovalenko. This is Tertichny. Able to get it on to Kovalenko, and then it's dealt on back. Dan McGillis. And then Tertichny again, nearing the halfway point of the first period. The Ranger chant begins, moving in, Brind'Amour, and the shot deflected up into the seats.
Oh boy, and Tamer rode across and gave Brind'Amour a ride hard into the boards. Tamer, who fights asthma, and has to take the inhalant during games, timed the shot by Brind'Amour perfectly, deflected the puck into the stands, and then rode Rod Brind'Amour right into the boards well after the whistle for a hard body check. There's the puck going into the stands. Look at Tamer on the far side, bang, high and hard. As both teams don't want to back up in this game. Getting back to that story, Mike. So Doug Lidster is playing for the Canadian national team. Watching the interview with George McPhee, who runs Washington, Bob Gainey, who runs Dallas. Well, they both called him and offered him a job the rest of the way. So Doug Lidster said, oh, I'm going to Dallas. So he's there, and if Daryl Sador is injured with the knee, if he can't play today, Doug Lidster would be in the lineup. And a chance of doing well with that team in the playoffs. You'd never know. Maybe a cup.
My partner with a help wanted sign ready at hand.
Right.
Pretty interesting. Off this face-off, it is kept alive. Therrien put one off the tip of the glove of Richter. Dug out by Graves. Trickled on for John McLean. Pushed it along. By Desjardins, and so they still must play, and it's Leclerc back up to Jones on the wing for Lindros. Wheeling in. Lindros tripped up by Richter, went thumping into the boards, and the Rangers up with it there, but Nedved can't clear. Dealt right back on. Some time and space for Leclerc. Fed it across, but it's tipped away by Samuelsson. Shunted right back to the same corner. Who's in after it? Graves is there to pull it away. Adam Graves forces it back off for the turning winger John McLean. Tipped on for Samuelsson, drubbed on but not out. Jones kept it alive. Hustling to the corner is Lindros. Big collision with old Samuelsson, and the glass still shaking. Centering pass flagged by Leach, and then it popped right back across the net mouth and is brushed to neutral ice.
And a third attempt by the Rangers to get the puck over their own blue line. First time they do. The Lindros line, 3 shifts, they haven't been in their own zone yet.
The Rangers going with a triangular arrangement, wanting to get Nedved out there too, or is it just the two defensemen?
Oh yeah, no, the Nedved line. Here the Flyers are playing the trap here. One man in, the rest of them in the neutral zone. They played the trap throughout this first period.
Stevens wide with the shot. Beaupont knocked down by Fedek. Turned back on, and rushing to it was Forbes. Help came from Dykhouse, but then he was given a solid thump by Kevin Stevens. Back to get it, Brennan. After him is Beaupont. Quickly got rid of it to Ender. Ender back up to Stevens. Lays it ahead. Savard up the wing. Frazier a drive, and a save made by Van Beesbrook.
Oh, baby, is this quick? This game is quick. Just look at a face-off. Lindros and Nedved. It's not on a circle, so they're both cheating. Both facing the boards. Both of them. Goes off the linesman's skate. Here's the scoring chance where Lindros was flying down the right side. Richter used his goal stick. You know, for the first few years, Richter's was a goaltender with the Rangers. He didn't use his stick much. Here's a collision. Dykhouse has to play the puck. A clean hit by Stevens. Good crunching body check. We're seeing a lot of hits in this game. And Rob Schick, the referee, is letting them play, Mike. He is calling a good game by not calling very much. The players have played hard and tough, and they're keeping it clean.
You notice the face-offs. John pointed out the best team in the league is Philadelphia, and they're showing it here this afternoon, winning 7 of 9.
It shouldn't surprise anybody. They're very, very good, especially when they're mentally into a game.
Bureau won that one. It had to be paddled away by Van Beesbrook, though. The battle behind Malhotra checked off. Forbes trying to work it back out. Ill humor when you arrive at the puck. Fred Shiro, who coached both of these teams, said that, and there's lots of ill humor out there.
Yeah, he said you take the shortest route to the puck and arrive in ill humor.
There have been some short routes, haven't there? Malhotra left it behind. Swung right back out again, and on with it come the Flyers in this 1-1 tie. Hope you're enjoying this one on Fox, along with John Davidson, Mike Emmerich from Madison Square Garden. 18,200 full house for the 110th straight time to see these two old mean rivals battle. Back on Zelapukin, dropped it on back, dipping the shoulder. Langkow, backhander, went off of Richter and then wide. Scott Frazier digs it out. Lays a pass to neutral ice. Stevens tries to get there first, did, but then was checked by Dan McGillis. McGillis, the hit leader for Philadelphia and the hit leader in the entire league last year. Big number 3 just put one off the wall that came to Tamer for a shot. That one deflected across and is grabbed by Kovalenko. Andrei Kovalenko came in that triangular deal with Tampa Bay and Edmonton. Little pass tipped away by the Flyers defense and re-grabbed by McGillis. Stepping ahead with us is Rod Brindamore. Brindamore has Renberg breaking. Got it on back for a slam by Kovalenko that is held by Richter and play stopped. A 1-1 game midway first.
In attendance, Bobby Nevin, Vic Hadfield, and the Cat, Emil Francis, with some good seats here to watch. It's a Legends game to be played after this one between Ranger Legends and Flyer Legends, and that should be a lot of fun.
Saw Brad Park here earlier today. Think Vic will play in that game?
He might. Yeah, I do. I hope he does. Brian Propp is here. He does the radio work for the Flyers.
Not playing. They've got to go to Montreal.
Right.
What a road saga.
I asked Bobby Clark if he was going to play. He can't find his equipment.
Right. He's looking real hard, isn't he?
It's in a museum back in Philadelphia in the arena. He said it's going to stay there, too.
Fed over for a shot by Brindamore that got the glass, and decked to the ice was Kovalenko.
He's back up, though, and ready to jump into action.
Schneider put it on goal. Van Beesbrook covers.
Schneider, Kovalenko.
Looks like they'll part. According to the NHL stats being kept across the way, the hits are 23-11 Rangers right now.
Well, the puck's been in the Rangers zone quite often, and the Rangers are finishing their checks. Here's the hit by Schneider. He caught Kovalenko right in the chest. Kovalenko went down. He went back at Schneider. Schneider got mad and threw a punch at Kovalenko. Then Kovalenko came back with a shove towards Schneider. And they're both going to go to the box. In this type of a game, you know, there hasn't been a lot of offensive chances, but it's been close. The Flyers have put a lot of pressure on the Rangers here so far in the first period, nearly 13 minutes in.
Well, next week on Fox, it's an interconference battle as the Avalanche and Theo Fleury face off against Jaromir Jagr and the Penguins, plus other regional action. It all starts at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. Check local listings for the game in your area right here on Fox.
St. Louis at Dallas, Rangers at Boston. Oh, Chris Pronger is back for that one for St. Louis. He's been out to find defenseman out of the lineup for the Blues. And I'll be honest with you, I can hardly wait to see that game in Pittsburgh with Theo Fleury going to play for Colorado. You know, his agent is a fellow out of Winnipeg by the name of Don Baisley, the same agent that Peter Forsberg has. Forsberg is a restricted free agent at the end of the year. Theo Fleury is still an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, and I think Don Baisley, the agent, is going to be a busy guy. At the end of the year, I mean by the end of the season. July 1st, I guess, is the deadline.
Puck kept by the Rangers, fed over to Brian Leach. Looks to the front, the wrister, blocked high by Van Beesbrook and scooped up by Therrien. Advances it back on to Eric Lindros in a 3-on-2. Feeds the wing, moving in and on. The pass across to Desjardins. He was taken out of the play.
Is that a great play all the way up ice by the offensive team and the defensive team? Great, spectacular on the offside now. Mike, a 4-on-2 it started. And here's Samuelsson getting at Lindros a bit. And Lindros moved up 3-on-2, stopped, and then fed the puck. Watch him on the puck. He'll stop and then feed it to his left. Now the key is over here. Does Leach pick his man up? That's Desjardins. Yes, he took him right out of the play nicely. That's just a great play all the way up ice by both teams. Good hockey. Spectacular play by all the players involved.
The longevity of Eric Lindros in the Flyer uniform.
Well, he does have a contract for this year. He'll have a contract for next year that's been agreed upon, but Bob Clark wants to sign him to a long-term deal. They've been unable to do that so far. Penalty here to Ulf Samuelsson. He's going for 2 minutes. This will be 4-on-3 plus the goaltenders, and the Rangers not happy with this call. The owner of the Philadelphia Flyers, or one of, Mr. Schneider,
chairman of the board, has presided over not only a successful NHL team in Philadelphia, but an American League team too, the Philadelphia Phantoms. They are selling out their game in the big building this afternoon, and they sold out their game at the Spectrum on Friday. So for an American League game, a period of over the weekend, 2 games, 38,000 fans.
Wow.
38,000 fans. And I think they're going to look into an East Coast League team next.
It's a great hockey city. Philadelphia supports their teams there regarding hockey like crazy. And Mr. Schneider, when we saw him, did he look intense? He looked like he was going to throw the blades on and get out there.
That's it. I'll get that Samuelsson when he comes out.
4-on-3. Here we go. Flyers on the power play.
Samuelsson the rough at 13:25. Rod Brind'Amour looking things over. Brind'Amour across to Lindros. Onto the back to Desjardins. Brind'Amour firing, and it's deflected wide as Tamer got a piece of it. He and Leach are out on defense. The other part of the triangle is Sundstrom, and he was able to block this one and then chip it back down. Strong defensive work by Nicholas Sundstrom. 6 minutes left first period. Shots are 5-4 Rangers. Game tied at 1. Desjardins gains the line and then is wedged off, thrown out of play by Tamer, and the clock stopped again.
Power play not kind to the Flyers in recent games. Let's look at what they're trying to do here. Now, if we just stop it there, guys, you got a left-handed shot on the right side. This is Lindros, a right-handed shot over there. So if the puck is passed side to side, they can shoot the puck off the pass. Desjardins is on the backside, and I believe that's Leclerc in front. See, they want to shoot the puck off the pass. Off the pass. Desjardins moves it down, and you can shoot it quickly. Now, Brind'Amour stopped the puck there. He's better off to shoot it right off the pass so Richter doesn't have enough time to move across and get into position.
John McLean is the forward for the Rangers. No change in defense. No change in the Flyers at all. Both teams get a man back in 40 seconds. Flipped off of Lindros' stick, knifed down by Leach, and chipped on for the lift back out by John McLean. Half a minute on the coincidental minors. Eric Desjardins lays it back across. Rod Brind'Amour walks it on. Now some space to give back to Desjardins. Brind'Amour again looked across at Lindros, to Desjardins, to Lindros, over to Brind'Amour, had to stop, and then it skipped off his stick. In 10 seconds, both get a man back. Desjardins, shot blocked high by Richter. Eric Lindros controlling again. In 2 seconds, both get a man back. Lindros back over to Desjardins, back to Lindros. Hurried shot was wide. Rebound chipped up in the air. Around behind Brind'Amour, decked by Leach. It's fed back out to Lindros again. 20 left on the power play. Jammed at the front of the net, but denied by Leach. Tamer tried to play it, but instead it's Leclerc working the outside. Now it comes through Lindros and down.
The fans loving it, but if you've had tickets and you're sitting in this building in the Rangers zone, you've seen a good game. The puck's been in their zone the whole time as there's an icing call against the Flyers. 2 seconds to go on the Samuelsson minor, and the fans love it. The Flyers had a couple of shots from directly in front of Richter, but they were by Desjardins out towards the blue line. The big boys down low didn't get anything, and the penalty killing worked so far. The Flyers power play just has not been clicking lately. Tried different things. Take a look at some of the work. Leclerc with Tamer. A little more pressure now as the Rangers have 3 defensemen on the ice: Leach, Tamer, and Schneider. So they have 3 defensemen out there of the 4 people killing penalties. There's Richter trying to look through big John Leclerc, who's always near the top of the goal crease. Well, Richter dove there and got to the puck just a split second ahead of John Leclerc.
Despite the fact that the Rangers are currently not in the playoffs, if you were to draw the line beneath 8, if they win this game, they're only 3 points out. And of all the teams in the league, they have the best special teams. Second in power play, third in penalty killing. No one's really close. Off this draw, penalty time is up. Samuelson is out of the box, and we're down to the last 4.5 of the first.
You have a heck of a race at the top of the Eastern Conference for first overall. The Devils winning this afternoon.
They won 4-1. So the Devils and Ottawa are now tied with 74 points. Philadelphia and idle Toronto have 73. If the Flyers win this, Toronto doesn't play, they'll be first in the East, as they had been for most of calendar year 99 until this past Thursday. 1-1 tie during the last month, except temporarily Boston was ahead for a couple of days. And in the West, there hasn't been a change the entire month. It's been the same top 8. It only looks like 2-3 points, and then it's easy, but it's not. Savard jammed one, and that blocked aside by Van Beesbroek as the Rangers were on the rush. Ender played it along. Could not be dragged back in by Langkow. Oh, and a little extra as Zelepukin comes up.
Yeah, this is starting to heat up, isn't it? Really starting to heat up. Good save by Van Beesbroek on the tip by Mark Savard. Mike, last night Boston didn't play well, but they beat Washington at home. And last night Toronto did the Rangers a favor by beating the Florida Panthers. There's a save on the deflection by Savard up towards the other end of the ice. Roman Endor gets along the boards there. As you can see, Zelepukin had to stick through the legs, lost his helmet and his balance. Last night with Toronto doing the Rangers a favor and the other teams a favor by beating Florida, former Ranger defenseman Alexander Karpovtsev was head-to-head against Pavel Bure all game long, and Pavel unable to get his normal offense in that game. They say Karpovtsev did a great job shutting Bure down after Bure had a great night the night before in Detroit, the 5-5 tie.
One of the leading plus-minus players in the league. Centering pass back. Desjardins, a shot! Oh, and a rocket went off the boards. Worked along by Leclerc, but taken by Ulf Samuelsson. Blocked by Lindros. He and Samuelsson tangle, and it skipped on to be played by Savard. Or check that by Nedved. Puck came back on. Nedved with a pass that skipped off of John McLean. McLean able to knock it through. McLean moving in. Circles around behind the net. Looks for Nedved. Bam on the shot. A penalty coming up. It'll be against the Flyers, and play is stopped. And Leach back on 1 point. Schneider on the other. A native New Yorker. Leach with a pass ahead. McLean flipped one that's knifed down by Graves. Graves moving to it. Desjardins bumped him off. Therrien clears, and it skipped off Schneider's stick and went back down. The shots are 6-5 Rangers. Half a minute gone on the power play as Leach brings it ahead. Given over to Matthew Schneider, back to Leach. Gains the line and chipped one past Luke Richardson, taken by McLean. Richardson defending him. McLean with a little room. Looks to Graves. Dealt it into him. Graves looking for Nedved, but the pass blocked aside and then held to the back of the net by Richardson.
Rangers 1 for 1 on the power play, but it was a clearing pass by Van Beesbroek that was blocked by Graves. And the Graves play led to the goal. Graves has 13 power play goals to lead the Rangers this season. This is where the Rangers miss Gretzky the most, I think, is that John Muckler doesn't have that defined playmaker that would set up behind the net and set up the scoring chances for the Rangers. Gretzky has 24 power play assists on the season. Ronnie Hextall backing up John Van Beesbroek for this one. Malhotra getting some power play time for the Rangers, and this is very, very different for him.
Off the faceoff, helped over to Leach. Leach shoves it back along again. Malhotra stood up by Richardson. Both of them went down and are back up again. Back to Leach. Shovels it back along further. Worked on back to the point, and a shot by Brennan came back to him. Leach again, able to spirit it on through. Sundstrom wants to get it to Malhotra. That jammed around, and it's Lindros clearing back out with 2 minutes left in the period and 45 on the kill.
It was Brennan on the wrist shot from the point, and Brindamore did a nice job blocking it.
Leach walking it ahead. Brian Leach's pass was blocked. Brennan hammered it right back in. Around it came for Sundstrom. Watched there by Tertischny. Cycled it on for the shove back to the point. Leach there waiting. Flipped it back along, and it clicked off of McGillis. Dug out by Malhotra. Manny Malhotra back to Leach. Hands it across to Brennan. Shakes it back for Malhotra, who bunted it down and rolled along further. Knubel put it around behind. Sundstrom there for Leach, but it's deflected back out, and a race on, and Brennan will get there as the Flyers change.
Rangers power play. Their defensemen have had no time at all to handle the puck. Flyer penalty killers. Their forwards are up high on the Rangers defense so far and just closing Leach right off.
Penalty box empty. Tamer's pass ricocheted off a Flyers skate. Nearing the final minute of the first period. Loaded back in by Steven Snyder. Now hitting the post with the shot was Frazier. Frazier digs to it again. Worked it back over Savard, back on the point, and it went off Ulf Samuelsson's stick. Great opportunity for the Rangers. Tamer with a pass that's cut off and sped back in by Jones. Around it comes for John LeClair with 40 to play in the period. Then to Jones again. For Lindros, who turns. Fed it back over Desjardins. In front, score!
And a nice pass by Desjardins.
The young man out of Western Michigan University, Keith Jones, gets his 16th of the year, his 15th with the Flyers. All right, ahead with this comes Nedved. Shooting, he scores! And the game is tied!
What a game. This knocked the water bottle all the way back to the backboard. Off the top of the net, a lethal wrist shot. I mean, he just whipped it right over the shoulder underneath the crossbar, and we're tied at 2. Center ice face-off. Nedved, a left-handed shot, used Desjardins as a screen, and that's a rifle up top. Water bottle on the ice. What a great shot. Talked about the Flyers' beautiful goal. Look at the shot here. Does it hit Desjardins? I don't know. I know the screen was there. It's a lethal wrist shot by Nedved. We're tied at 2.
Pitched by Jones, brought by LeClair for Lindros, and it's tipped away. He got it back. Oh, the short side try wouldn't go home. Lindros again, and checked off was LeClair with 7 to go in the period. It's Graves driving, and it went wide. In the final 3, Luke Richardson flipped it along off Nedved. The buzzer, the period, they're standing.
It's an ovation here at Madison Square Garden. We saw it all. Penalty killing, hitting, goaltending, goal scoring. High, intense hockey.
Coming up on the new Dodge Intermission, Chris Myers will bring 16 to the first 7. The Flyers came back with the next 4, and the total shots.
And Van Beek. Good job there, as did Van Beesbrook, and now John playing goal for the Flyers along with Ronnie Hextall, one of the older tandems in the entire league. Both Hextall and Van Beesbrook, lots of experience there.
Van Beesbrook 35, Ron Hextall will be 35 the first week of May. Ulf Samuelsson, Ryan Leach, John McLean, and ahead, but it wound up going through Nedved, punched on by McLean, tries to burrow his way through and is just checked off by Jones. Got it around behind though, and Nedved chases down. Petr Nedved with the unassisted goal in the final 27 seconds of the first period to tie it. This is Graves trying to work to the front, but forced to the outside by Eric Desjardins. Good, strong defense by Desjardins on Graves. Nedved bumped off. Desjardins still working. Able to get it back across and on to Terry.
Great example of why Desjardins is being talked about as the best defenseman in the league, the Norris Trophy. People around Philadelphia appreciate his play, and he showed it there against Adam Graves.
Tangled up are Graves and Jones, and a good shot gotten away by Eric Lindros. Turned behind to LeClair now, looking for Jones, who had just bodied away and then worked on by Leach. A penalty coming up. It'll be on the Rangers. Angled back for the touch by the Rangers, and they'll go shorthanded. We'll be back with the Philadelphia power play right after this. The sprawling Mike Richter. Handed onto the back. Carl Dykhouse spins it around off the tip of the stick of Brindamore. And so the Rangers look to clear and do.
The Flyers start their number 2 unit on the power play. The number 1 unit was on the ice to draw the power play, so they rest for a shift on the bench. And if the power play goes long enough, the Lindros line will be right back on the ice.
Renberg, Brindamore, and Zelepukin for the Flyers. Sertishny with a pass ahead for Valeri Zelepukin. Zelepukin trying to work in, but is pushed offside, and so the clock stopped again.
Zelepukin held on to the puck. And at that point, Renberg, pardon me, was moving up. He wanted the puck, and Zelepukin didn't move it to him. And Renberg sort of turned around and looked at the bench and said, he's got to headman the puck, and I wouldn't be offside. Now, earlier we talked about Graves having one of the best years of his career, folks, and Desjardins stays between Graves and the net. Look at 37 on 9. 9 does not get position on the inside of 37. And this is why people in Philadelphia are saying Desjardins offensively is right at the top of the heap with scoring points for defensemen. He's been great defensively. He has a wonderful plus-minus. What a season he's having.
And that translates as Norris Trophy for being the best defenseman if they get their way in Philadelphia. Thrown by Graves right on goal. Covered and held by John Van Beesbroek.
Van Beesbroek here on the power play takes the face-off, but he doesn't mind taking the face-offs in his own zone because they win the majority of them, so there's no fear in that area.
Tonight on Fox, after an all-new World's Funniest, Entertainment Weekly readers call it the best TV sitcom ever. A new Simpsons. Then Katie Seagal serves a gourmet meal on a new That 70s Show. Plus, would you give your life to change the future? An all-new X-Files. It all starts tonight at 7, 6 Central on Fox.
Lankow takes the draw. He's a left-handed shot. Lindros is a right-handed shot, so Lankow would try to draw it back into that corner. Try to go to your backhand, and that's what he did. If it was Lindros taking the draw, Mike, and he went to his backhand, he could put the puck on goal, his own net, and he'd be drawing it that way. So Lankow was the smart choice, and he won it.
Desjardins bringing it on. Laid it ahead to Lindros. Closed off by Ender. And so it's Brent Pettick. Former Philadelphia Flyer rockets it back down. He, Mark Recchi, and Eric Lindros were on the crazy 8 line. Recchi was 8. Pettick was 18, and Lindros, of course, still with the 88 at that time. Jammed on and Graves. Oh, and then Lindros rammed into Graves as he was falling. Puck came across for Leclerc, but an offside. What about Mark Recchi? Where do you think he'll be next year?
Boy, after this trade today where Theo Fleury leaves Calgary and goes on to Colorado, it makes you wonder, will there be a domino effect? Will Mark Recchi move on, or will Montreal try and re-sign him? I don't think they can. The story with Recchi, you know, he went in with his agent, Rick Curran, and talked to Ray-Jean Houle, who's the general manager of Montreal. And they talked numbers, etc. Ray-Jean Houle said, you know something, Mark, I understand you've got a chance here to wait to become an unrestricted free agent July 1st, move on, and basically hit the lottery, sign for some big dollars. Ray-Jean Houle did the same thing when he left the NHL to go to the WHA. So he says he understands exactly what it's all about. Sometimes you just leave as a financial part of business.
Lindros to the back. Desjardins. Blocked. And started back out by Nedved. Might get a breakaway. Nedved crosses down to the ice. And what do we have?
Penalty shot or a penalty?
Delayed penalty call for right now.
Petr Nedved outworked Desjardins. Desjardins battled back and took the penalty.
If Rob Schick points to the center face-off circle, it's a penalty shot. He calls a hook.
He had a lot of time to think about it. You know exactly what the criteria is regarding penalty shots. And Rob Schick on the delayed call had those thoughts, I would think, going through his mind. He decided a 2-minute minor and not the penalty shot.
Possession of the puck. Does he have it?
Yes.
Is he clear of the red line?
Yes.
No one between puck carrier and goalie?
Yes.
Foul from behind?
Yes.
Denied reasonable scoring opportunity?
Yes. He could have handed out a penalty shot there if you really think about it. When you talk about your criteria, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of them, whether they're justified or not, but that's my bias.
Yeah, you can see Desjardins faked the shot, tried to move the puck to Lindros, and Petr Nedved read it. Nedved's in on the breakaway. He's attacked from behind. He's pulled down. No shot on goal. Is this what you call a clear breakaway? He certainly was ahead of Desjardins by about a stride. Anyway, the penalty's been called. No penalty shot. 2 seconds to go on the minor to Leach, and the Rangers will have a power play for 1:58.
Shots are 10-8 Rangers in the game. Now, New Jersey has already defeated Phoenix 4-1. Dallas a lead on Los Angeles. Washington a lead on Pittsburgh. Those are 1-0 games, and Richter had to act quickly to stoke that one away. Jody Hull fired that shot. Fed back over, and wiping out now is Nedved. Now turned back over for Savard. Brought back on by Leach. Angled back in for play by Stevens. Second effort, but it is pulled off and lifted back off the boards by Hull. So the Rangers with 90 to work with. Just under 16.5 to go, second period. The Nedved goal late in the first picked up an assist for Ulf Samuelsson on the play to him. Here is a shot by Stevens that flopped wide off Dykhuis's stick. Jammed on back, but read by Leach and held. Dropped back on, but Tertichny took his man and flipped right back along for Savard. Savard fed one in front, they score! Scott Frazier with the goal.
Mike Forbes had a chance to move the puck out of the zone, and he couldn't get it out. It was kept in, and then Savard, who is so patient with the puck, made some pass. Here the Rangers move up the ice, working the power play. On this side of the ice, in there is where Forbes is going to have the chance to move the puck out right here, and he can't. Now it's kept in the zone, and you're going to see Savard get the puck, and watch his patience. He doesn't pass it, doesn't pass it, doesn't pass it, passes it, bingo, right-handed shot. Remember earlier we were talking about the Flyers, how they should shoot the puck off the pass? This is what happens when you shoot the puck off the pass. The goalie can't get across. So it's the first of the season for Fraser, who's just been called up because of a Todd Harvey injury, and the Rangers lead 3-2.
Icing call. Samil Will down in the corner as the young man from Dartmouth has broken the tie. The Rangers have the lead on the Flyers 3-2 early in the second. Ranger fans here this afternoon watching their team take a lead here. Fraser from Savard and Stevens at 3:57 of the second period.
That stat we just saw tells you the Rangers would like to score more goals.
Oh, and a rocket went wide for McGillis.
And so would a lot of teams in the league.
Flyers have some concerns about defense in 6 of the last 9 going into today. They'd given up 4 goals or more.
Mike, that's what they worked on yesterday in practice in Tampa Bay before they flew up to New York. It was team defense.
Hurried shot by Renberg. Didn't get much on it and then was muscled down. That work being done by Chris Tamer. Bertishny on. Jostled off was Kovalenko. Walked ahead by McGillis. McGillis breezes around behind and looks for an opening. Gave it to the back. Bertishny a shot, and it ricocheted off someone in front. Didn't look like that got all the way through the ring.
I think it may have hit Renberg. All 5 Rangers were down towards the goal line, and the point man was wide open.
Fire wagon changed by the Rangers as it's brought ahead by Renberg. Slithered through for Brindamore, but he's cut right off by John McLean. Dumped along for Graves. Tipped one, but into traffic, and so it's Tamer.
You mentioned earlier McGillis playing with a sore neck. So is John McLean. He had an MRI on it yesterday, and everything was fine. And one of those things called a burner, where you have a nerve damage in your neck, and boy, every time you go to do something, it just stings.
Well, there's so much movement, let alone collision, that we take for granted when you have to play the wing like that.
Hockey players are tough.
Nedved a shot. Blocked down by Van Beesbrook. And charging to the front was McLean. There'll be a penalty coming up.
Slashing call. And it's against Keith Jones. He's been everywhere. He's either taking a penalty or drawing a penalty or scoring or getting assists. He broke a stick on the slash, and the call is made by Rob Schick, the referee. So Jones goes for 2, gets himself a new stick, and the Rangers have 2 power play goals in this game. And the last one was a beauty. The pass from Savard to Fraser. So an important part of the game now for the Flyers. They trail by 1, and they need themselves a good penalty kill.
Power play 2 for 3 for the Rangers. 2 shots taken, and they both went in. One was thrown by Van Beesbrook off of Graves.
That was Nedved. There's one chop. And the stick through the legs. Well, I think the original play where the stick went across Nedved right here, right across the left thigh. That broke the stick right near the left hand of Keith Jones. So Jones sits for a couple. He's been involved, hasn't he?
Indeed. Ever since he came to Philadelphia, cheerful guy. Get him in, great interview.
Yeah.
Mean guy out there.
Oh, baby.
Do you have anybody you remember from your playing days that was such an annoying guy as he was, and Claude Lemieux and that type of player?
Well, that's a good question.
Vic Hadfield? Was he annoying?
I think Fatillo was, but he was on our team.
Drive, and that grab by Van Beesbrook and held. I'll bet it was a guy who's in this building today, Gary Dornhofer. He didn't say much.
Boy, he was annoying to play against. I mean, as a goaltender playing in Philadelphia, the Spectrum, where I happened to really, I enjoyed the Spectrum because it was a smaller building and the people were on top of you, and it was always a hard-fought game. And as a goaltender going in there, it was easy to get your adrenaline flow going because it was hard. I called it Western Canadian style. It was just a battle. And Dornhofer used to always be on top of the goal crease, and all you saw was the black hockey pants right by your nose.
Nedved tapped it back. Schneider got it to Nedved. To Schneider. Big drive off of Van Beesbrook. Reached by John McLean, but then he was bodied off and taken to the corner by Desjardins. And it's angled back down. Just over 14 minutes to go in the second. Lindros and Jones have the goals for Philadelphia. Graves, Nedved, and Fraser for the Rangers. Leach feeds. Fed across by Nedved. Down to the front. Nedved scores!
was tripped up by McLean at center ice. So it made it a 4-on-2. And the Rangers tic-tac-toed the puck right into the goal net. Now what happened? Oh, it's over in here somewhere, right there. I don't know what happened to Dykhouse. McLean says he didn't do it. The Rangers went ahead. The pass worked. And you see Nedved scoring. Nobody's in the goal crease at all. And a goal scored. It's a third power play goal for the Rangers. And they lead 4-2. Boy, the Flyers were upset. What a beautiful play. It's a gorgeous goal, very similar to the goal we saw by the Flyers earlier. Van Beezer playing the shooter. The puck got by him right across to Nedved for the slam dunk. Adam Graves moved the puck across. Nedved scored.
Graves and Leach with the assists at 6:09.
Try and figure out exactly what happened up near center ice with Dykhouse. Did he make contact with McLean? Did both players not realize it? Or was there a pick play? It's up in here. Dykhouse is this defenseman. Is there contact? You know, the stick of McLean may have tripped up Dykhouse. Accidental or not, I don't know. It's not called. Maybe the Rangers got a break, maybe not. I know they got a power play goal and they lead 4-2, and the Flyers are not happy. The Rangers want the Flyers to get their team to center ice, so they counter. The Flyers here are having a silent protest against Rob Schick right now. Finally, a couple of defensemen skate out, and here comes the line combination. The Rangers will then counter with their line. Flyers aren't happy with Rob Schick on that play, and the Rangers obviously want the game to continue. Rangers have had 4 goals on 15 shots, 3 of them on the power play.
Flyers are the 3rd best defensive team in the league. Despite that, they've given up 4 or more in 7 of the last 10 games. Adam Graves over to have a word with Rob Schick about something. Now it will be Lindros and Nedved to draw. Nedved 2nd of the day, 14th of the year on the power play.
Oh boy. Lindros, as soon as the puck was dropped, gave Nedved 2 shots with his stick. The Flyers now are going to play an angry game, but they've got to be careful because of their penalty killing. It's not working for them.
Good jostling check by Therrien, but a response with the stick 2 on Nedved. Pitched back along by Leclerc, taken by Jones. Jones put it behind Therrien, who recovers. Therrien flipped it back in. Jammed around behind by Jones. Leclerc flipped one in front. It skipped one back to Therrien. Hurried one, and it went off Lindros' skate, and then kicked wide. An electric sort of atmosphere here at Madison Square Garden. It seems like it's always that way, but more so in these battles with the Flyers, especially when the Rangers are ahead.
13 minutes to go in the 2nd period. The Flyers are a long way from out of this game.
Desjardins collides. Down went Leclerc. Hooked back, but Therrien can take it. Therrien steamed it back in, but went out of play, and so the clock stopped here with the Rangers ahead by the score of 4-2. Ice bags for teammates.
2 referees. That might have been called, Mike. I think McLean got Dykhouse with his stick blade on the skates and tripped him up.
This is Kevin Stevens. Fed one across off of Frazier and away from Savard. One thing for sure, it would have been more likely to have been spotted.
Yeah, accidental or not, he tripped him up. And with 2 referees, which I think we'll see in the playoffs, it probably would have been called. That's a pretty good example as to why the league is thinking about going to the 2 referee system. It's awfully hard to see everything. Rob Schick was looking in one direction. The play happened on the other direction, and you can't call it if you don't see it. The linesmen do not have the right to make that call unless it's a major penalty. So
the experiment goes on with the American Hockey League, playing 4-on-4 in sudden death overtime. 4 of the first 5 American League games played that way were decided. And the American League said this week that the email response among fans has been 80% positive for the notion of shifting to 4-on-4 play once you get to sudden death overtime.
Yeah, I like that too. Oh boy, offside here, but that shot on Richter dropped and he had trouble with it. The shot by, I like the American League, at least the NHL is looking at it, but I like the American League thinking about what the fans have to say. That's important. Not only the GMs or coaches or players, what about the fans? They pay the bucks. Let them have a say in this whole situation. The Flyers are offside again, and they've been offside a lot in this game. And that tells you they're either not thinking sometimes or a little uptight.
Kovalenko bumped off by Knuble.
Or anxious.
Quick shot by Brindamore, popped high in the air. They have won only one of their last 5 games and only 2 of the last 10. Yet they still have a crack at first in the Eastern Conference today. Penalty coming up. Kovalenko on the outside. It'll be against the Rangers. Brindamore shot. Stopped by Richter.
And then Tamer hit a home run with the puck. But I think there'll be a penalty upcoming against the Rangers, and Tamer will be the guy going. Coming off maybe his best save of the game.
McGillis trickled one, but into traffic. Back near McGillis, dumped back out again by Nedved. And it's tapped away from Graves and right to Van Beesbrook to hustle on to Desjardins. Desjardins spirited it back out. Worked on by Langkow to Lindros, and then Langkow taken out of the play.
He was hooked down by Petr Nedved.
Play continues, and the Flyers yelling from their bench, why not a 5-on-3?
That very well could have been, Mike. It's interesting, too. Langkow on the power play. Jones has had a hot game offensively. They take him off the Lindros line for the power play.
Lindros gained the line, got it over to Langkow. Langkow couldn't get the pass away because of Leach. Strong play by him, and it's lifted out again by Brent Fettig. So now McGillis. Clock down to 11 minutes to go in the second. Rangers ahead 4-2 on the strength of 3 power play goals. Flyers with a power play here. Nice work by Lindros. On to Brindamore. Brindamore circling, fed it to the back. Work back over to Dijkhuis. Shooting one, and it's blocked down by the defense. And it's blasted back down by Matt Schneider.
Schneider having a strong game. He's had the flu for the 3rd time this season over the last couple of days, but he looks okay.
Thrown back around behind by Kovalenko. Brindamore there. The battle continues. Renberg tries to step by. Brought back up by the Rangers. John McLean able to muscle it back to neutral ice, and a strong game by McLean despite the neck burner today. Half a minute to go on the Flyers power play. The shots are 16-11 Rangers. 8 in this period for the Rangers, 4 for the Flyers. Tertischny brings it back. The heart around, and Richter there to get a piece of it. Bounced over to Renberg. Renberg shuttled it back for Kovalenko. Check that, Brindamore. Then back to Renberg again. Handed on back by Richardson. Out in front, and a shot saved by Richter. Brindamore just walked out of the corner and got a good chance. Out of the box now is Tamer. Delayed offside as Ender plays, and Schneider put it off a couple of skates. Worked right back on, and pivoting with it is Matthew Schneider.
The Rangers D need a change here. They haven't been able to get to their bench. It's past center ice. They need a change, and again the puck's turned over. See if Schneider just, yeah, he blasted down. No icing.
Tip back over to Fettig. Fettig wanted to get a pass through for Sundstrom. Sundstrom able to get to it. Sundstrom on the outside, but the pass cut off and steered back across. Fettig swept it back to the corner. Now the Flyers can't get out. Richardson blasted it along. Kicked off a bull pot and went all the way down for an icing touch up by Leach.
That was a big penalty kill for the Rangers, and specialty team-wise, it's gone the Rangers' way in this game as we just passed the midpoint of this one. So far in this game, too, faceoffs haven't hurt the Rangers and haven't helped the Flyers as much as I thought they would, especially you think of puck possession time on specialty teams. Rangers have blocked 10 shots in the game as the Flyers try to find quality ice to get quality shots on Mike Richter. Again, you know, the previous 3 games between these 2 teams, only 8 goals scored total. We've already had 6 in this one.
Philadelphia 26 face-off wins to 10 for the Rangers. Block shots, the Rangers 10 and the Flyers 5.
Savard just told Fraser where he wanted him. The Flyers won the draw.
Savard, one of those players that was talked about being a smaller player, a smaller forward, but boy, if you've got skill, that makes up for a lot, and he's got some tremendous passers.
More than that, Mike, he's a little cocky, and I think that suits him.
Ranger Stanley Cup banner. He was captain of the team when they won their last 2 in '74 and '75. Not a stand-pat general manager. He's made 9 deals this year. 9 players have left, and 8 have come. Big shot by Fraser. Went off of Van Beesbrook. Richardson banked it around. They had a good year last year, the Flyers, but it's not a good year if it's not a great year, and that only comes from being the one survivor at the end of it all.
That's what they're trying to position themselves for. Bobby's a little concerned about their streak. 2-6-1. in their last 9 games going into this one. He says, you know, sometimes you get into slumps, but I'm a little concerned because it's been a little bit longer than we expected. I should also say hello to Wayne Cashman, one of the coaches for the Flyers. A couple of real tough back surgeries. I wish him all the best. One of the good people in the game. Former Boston Bruin, great player. Now a coach with the Flyers.
Yeah, we sure miss seeing him at these games. Hopefully soon. Nice move by Malhotra. Gets it ahead to Mike Knuble. Knuble fed one across, bounced away from Leach, who recovered and golfed it behind. Sundstrom with it there. Therrien bodies him and gets some help from Jones. Puck left behind. Therrien will try again. Waiting is Ulf Samuelsson. Wrapped pretty well by Zelepukin. But Desjardins emerges. Seems to happen a lot. Eric Desjardins with a pass ahead now to Langkow. Crisscrossing with Zelepukin, steams it up to Jones. Jones yanked it on back for Therrien. Wrapped it around for Jones, but it's collared by John McLean. Forced off a glass support, and the Rangers chip. Will they get it out? Yes. Neutralized Therrien must take. 7:20 left. Back ahead, it's tapped for Lindros. Shakes by. Feeds one across for Lindros. Oh, couldn't get the shot away because of McLean. Another shot, and it's blocked by Richter. Unbelievable defense, and here's McLean offensively, yanking it on back. Wrist shot. Graves.
Short side up high on Van Beesbroek, but I'll tell you, the play at the other end was spectacular. Look at this move by Lindros. The pass. Now watch McLean stop a slam dunker by Lindros, and here come the Rangers after Richter made the save. Graves over on the right side. Takes the pass, and look at this shot, folks. Top corner. Bad angle, but a great shot. One Van Beesbroek should not allow. However, give Graves credit. Boy, Van Beesbroek left a lot of room on the top side, on the short side. A lot of room there. Accurate shot. The defensive play by John McLean on Lindros is what helped set up the offense for the Rangers in a 3-goal lead.
McLean and Nedved get the assist. So Nedved with 2 goals and an assist today. Graves with 2 goals and an assist as well. 5-2 in favor of the Rangers. Puck turned over. Sundstrom back across. It's worked back to Tamer. Chopped it back along through for Sundstrom behind. Sundstrom defended well, though, by Tertichny. Tertichny wrapped it along, kept alive by Tamer. Right on back to the corner for Knuble. Mike Knuble cycles it along. Malhotra steps to that. Manny Malhotra, just 18. Trickled it around behind. Wedged in front for Knuble. And then another try. Oh, Malhotra's robbed by Van Beesbroek.
And Malhotra trying to score for the 3rd straight game. Got one in Calgary. Got one against Phoenix. And here he almost had one. And Van Beesbroek made a real good save on this one. Some forecheck by the Rangers. Leads to the scoring chance. And the Rangers' confidence is starting to soar in this game. Mike, for the Flyers, their penalty killing hasn't been very good. Their power play hasn't been very good. And right here you see Malhotra, who will end up getting the shot, works the puck low. One-handed play by Sundstrom. Their turnover. And there's the shot and save. Another look at the shot to the blocking side. It was Brind'Amour who turned the puck over. And he doesn't do that very often. Malhotra with a shot, Van Beesbroek the save. Now you look at the game for the Flyers from their point of view. They played hard. They played with a lot of emotion. They forechecked. They hit. But the penalty killing hurt them. Their power play hasn't worked. Goaltending-wise, Richter hasn't had a lot of work, but he's been better than Van Beesbroek. So there's 3 key areas in the game as to why the Rangers are winning this thing.
Flyers earlier this season had a string where they were winless in 7, which was their longest frustration over the last 5 years. But they had a 15-game, an 8-game, and a 5-game unbeaten string. Like almost every other team in the league, they've had a little of both this year.
We mentioned 3 power play goals in the game. The first one, Van Beesbroek made a mistake on a clearing pass, and it caromed off the right thigh of Adam Graves. And then the last 2 were really nice plays. We'll take a look at all 3 of them. There's the clearing pass off Van Beesbroek. Graves scored to tie the game at 1. And then here's the Savard pass across to Fraser. That's how you shoot the puck off the pass, quick. Van Beesbroek, no chance. And then here's the play across to Nedved from Graves after Dykhouse was picked and knocked down near center ice. So the Rangers' power play has been a lethal weapon here this afternoon.
Savard, Frazier, and Stevens, the line out for John Muckler's New York Rangers. The big boys come out for the Philadelphia Flyers. They've got Jones back on that line with Leclerc and Lindros now. It's yanked across, hoping for Jones, but instead lifted along and back to the safety of neutral ice. Just over 5.5 to go, second period. The Rangers ahead by 3.
Rangers trying now to change their defense on the fly, and they pull it off to get Samuelson and Leach to go opposite the Lindros line.
Lindros hit pretty well by both Nedved and Samuelson. Puck squirted through, and it's Graves. Adam Graves bringing it back out. What a productive line this one has been today. Dropped back to the deep corner for John McLean. Thrown to the front, but the ricocheted off him, and then McLean was smeared by Therrien. Boy, I like that corner camera at the right time. Can you ever get the impact of the force of this contest like we just saw?
A real good hit by Chris Therrien.
It is McLean again, rammed by Luke Richardson. Puck to the front, trying to circle is Graves. Pulls loose. Adam Graves wedged to the corner again, and Richardson on him.
Confidence for this line for the Rangers has gone up during the game. They were dominated in the first period, but in this period, they're getting better and better.
Crowd just going nuts on their play. Here's Nedved, spun it back across. Leach, Nedved cruising in, the feed to the front, and it's grabbed by Van Beesbroek.
Working on him during the stoppage. It was Adam Graves has moved along. The level of just, I don't know if it's concentration or what it is, but the Nedved line has gotten a lot stronger. Just confidence, I guess.
From the tie-up, it is Knuble, then Sundstrom, then a wrist shot by Malhotra that was wide. Desjardins is over. Good tempo for the Rangers this period. Fed to Malhotra, and a shot blocked aside and then covered by Van Beesbroek.
The last couple of shifts with the Rangers forechecking, getting some shots. Van Beesbroek is trying his best just to slow it down right now. Face off, if he can, just to slow down things so his team can re-up their tempo and get their forecheck going. It looks like the Flyers have sagged a little bit mentally right now, as there's still 4:12 to go in this second period. The youngest player in the NHL is Manny Malhotra. The Vancouver Canucks wanted Malhotra to be part of the deal if the Rangers were to get Pavel Bure. Rangers said no, and that was it for the Bure deal.
Brind'Amour gets a high sticking penalty at 15:48, so the Rangers with 3 power play goals will get a chance at another. They are 3 for 4 on their power plays with 5 shots. And Adam Graves, you know, Bobby Carpenter, who has to work against Lindros an awful lot too, was asked, what's the #1 thing in playing against Lindros? He said it takes more courage than anything else.
That's very well said. Bobby Carpenter playing for the New Jersey Devils.
We saw what Graves was wearing. Anybody that plays against him will wear some of that. Thrown to the front, tipped by Graves, and it went wide.
It's a set play, a wrist shot from the blue line for Graves to deflect it.
Nedved to Graves, flipped to the front, and it went off the back of Lindros. Jody Hall up with it, challenged though, and hit by Leach, and it's turned back over. Fed in deep, controlled by McLean, whips one and saved by Van Beesbroek. Around behind Nedved, turning with it. Petr Nedved, half a minute gone on his team's eventful power play. Thrown back to the corner by Schneider. Knifed away by McGillis. Chip back on. They hope for Lindros to clear, but they can't. Puck came back to Leach. Feeds it back across. Schneider with a drive. Pad stop. Loose puck forced to the corner by Tertichny. And jammed back out by Lindros and down.
Flyers down by 3. You think of shorthanded goals, but they only have 3 on the season.
Well, the low point for any team in the league. They're tied with some other teams with that number. Fed back across now for control. Frazier holds, throws it across, but it is lifted back down by Carl Dykhuis. To the last 45 of the penalty kill, under 3 minutes to go, second period. Nedved with 2, Graves with 2, Frazier with 1 for the Rangers, Lindros and Jones for the Flyers, nearly a steal. And the follow-up now comes for the big drive by Langkow. He scores!
And on the power play. This goal could change the complexion of this game completely.
Unassisted goal for Langkow, his first shorthanded goal for the Flyers, and his 12th overall in the year. 12th goal of the year. Now here's Schneider, beating it around behind. 16 to go on the power play. Follow-up come from Knuble, but that skipped on to Carl Dykhuis. Closed off by Knuble, and the puck tipped back out by Lankow, brought on by Mark Bureau. Bureau wants to set. Lankow dubbed his shot, and it came on goal for the Richter stop, and the pass too far for Knuble. Penalty time is up. Therrien back to play in the final 2:10 of the second.
Eric Lindros has gone to the Flyers locker room, Mike, and I don't know what that's about. Now let's look earlier on the penalty kill with the Flyers. This is Bureau in tight. The Rangers are setting up their breakout. They've got a man up here, a man here to cut across, man coming out of the corner. Now Bureau backs up. Now he forces the play on Brennan. There's the pass that got the...
Checking across the way, I think the equipment manager, Turk Evers, is still at the bench, so it might be a physical problem rather than equipment for Lindros. Meanwhile, the battling two aside behind the net. Under 2 minutes to go. You can see the time and score there. The Rangers ahead, but the advantage they have of 3 has been cut by 1. Rod Brind'Amour tries for Leclerc, but it skips back down. No icing. Holt Samuelsson back to blast that one around. It's kept alive by Desjardins, trying to muscle it by Tamer. Gets it for the feed behind to Jones. Back to Desjardins. Around now for Jones, who's wrapped up by Tamer. Coming by is John Leclerc with a backhander that's tipped aside by Samuelsson. To the last minute 20 of the period. Shaken back on for Leclerc, and a penalty coming up to the Rangers. Circling now is Leclerc. John Leclerc ragging. They get the extra man from the bench. Big blast, and it ricocheted off the iron.
And knocked the water bottle off the top of the net. Mike Richter went down, didn't see the shot. It was grazed off the crossbar and the water bottle. That was close. Delayed penalty now being called. Obstruction holding against the Rangers. Puck on edge. It's a rising shot. Bang! Look at Richter. He's down trying to find the shot. Didn't see the puck. Ooh, was that close? Van Beesbroek went to the bench for the extra attacker. 5-3 Rangers, 1:08 to go in the second, and now the Flyers have a very important power play ahead of them.
Tamer the hold with 1:08 to go in the period.
Tamer without the helmet in front of the net, working on Jones, and there's the headlock, and that's why the penalty is called. Jones, another play that he's involved with. At least 2 penalties he's drawn. He's taken a couple. He has a goal. He has an assist. And now he sits as his team goes on the power play. Let's see what the Flyers do here. There's no Lindros. He's gone to the locker room. We're not exactly sure why, but he is not there to play the power play. Lankow moves from the second unit to the first unit to play with Leclerc and Zelepukin out there.
It was Zelepukin that had that ripping shot just a moment ago. 1:08 left in the period.
Slight delay as Richter got himself a fresh water bottle. 1:08 to go, as you mentioned. Power play Flyers. They trail by 2.
Is that like a can that gets dinged? You don't want to take it out of the supermarket. So
I think it's Mel Samuelsson skates to the stick
to go in the second. Won by the Flyers, nicely controlled by Lankow. Around behind for Leclerc. Work to the outside, Desjardins, back to McGillis. Back to Desjardins. Fires, it's deflected away. A sprawling play made by Brent Fennick. Leach fighting. Puck popped up off Lankow. Boy, what some crunching in the far boards, and emerging from that for a moment was Leclerc. Now Zelepukin gets some help from Lankow. Oh, was he ever hit by Samuelsson? Play continues. It's Leclerc on the outside. On back to Desjardins. Hands on and gets it back from Zelepukin.
No stick for Samuelsson.
Zelepukin there. Samuelsson barehanded on across. Shot by Desjardins. It's out by Richter. Scramble and popped up in the air. And is cleared back down by the Rangers.
Did Samuelsson stop the shot with the open net? He may have. Oh, Flyers power play here looks really good.
I'm glad we've got a period of this left. 10 seconds to go in the second. Drilled back in. There'll be carryover power play time unless they score in the last 5. Leclerc centers, guided away by Leach. Drilled by Lankow and saved by Richter at the horn.
The score after 2 plays, the Rangers 5, the Flyers
5-3.
Their first goal in a long sudden you come alive.
Renberg's 9th of the year, his 4th power play goal from Brind'Amour and Kovalenko at 8:41. For Kovalenko, his first point as a Philadelphia Flyer. On now with this is Hull. Gives it across for a shot by Zelepukin that's tipped into the seats. 10:58 to go, third period. At one time, it was 2-1 Flyers. The Rangers with 4 straight. The Flyers have battled back and evened the game up.
So we've only seen 45 shots combined, 25 by the Rangers, 20 by the Flyers. The thing is, when you start to see specialty team goals, and the majority of them, the goaltenders don't have a great deal of chance. And Beesbrook hurt himself early when he turned the puck over himself to Adam Graves. The Flyers are coming alive again.
Physical game is picked up too. Zelepukin with a shot. That ricocheted off Tamer, who's seen a lot of ice time today.
The Rangers have taken, what, 3 straight penalties? Yeah. That's changed the flow of the game a lot.
It has worn out guys that would normally not see as much action, but are forced into it now. Tamer trying to defend. Langkow upended. Jab back free. Good close-off done by Tamer so that Zelepukin couldn't get there. The best part of it was effective. The second best part, it was legal. Here is Stevens bringing it on. 10:20 to go, third period. Glad you're with us on Fox. Sure hope you're enjoying the game. We are 5-5. 25 shots for the Rangers, 21 for the Flyers. Drubbed right back out again and down, and there'll be an icing. The touch up by Therrien.
And as the faceoff goes back to the Rangers zone, again, you're going to see 5-on-5. Nedved and Lindros, and a lot of the players with these two units have been the players that have been involved in taking penalties.
Boy, points are so much a necessity. Washington is out of the running right now. They have seen Pittsburgh come back and tie them in their game this afternoon, and the Penguins need the points too. They've got to get even with Toronto and New Jersey with 73.
5-5 tie here, 3-3 in Washington, 1-0 Dallas in the third over Los Angeles, and that's a big game for the Kings. They've won 2 straight on the road. Detroit, St. Louis, trying to get a point out of Dallas at least. You know, Lindros leads their team in scoring. He's the only player in the league that lead their team in scoring, to also lead them in penalty minutes. I kind of like that combination.
That's right. That's hockey. The follow-up, McLean. The pass was under Nedved's stick, and Nedved arrived. Punched it along, but right into Therrien, and he's rocked by Therrien. Puck fed back to Ulf Samuelsson. Samuelsson back on now for control, and a flip to the front off Graves. Graves with a couple today. Nedved with a couple as well. And it's sent back down. Brian Leetch will go back to get this, and there'll be an icing call. 9:36 to go in the third period.
We're talking about penalty minutes with Lindros leading his team in scoring and penalty minutes. Bobby Holik has 82 minutes, near the top of the Devils. Forsberg is near the top with Colorado, and he's in the 80s. Roenick for Phoenix is in the 80s. I think maybe the 90s now after his penalty minutes here the other night. But nobody leads the team like Eric does.
How deep are the pockets of the Avalanche? Taking on Theo Fleury. Yeah. They've got a $6 million guy whose contract is going to expire in Forsberg.
They have a brand new arena, the Pepsi Center, going to open next season. And I think they're spending some dough before it comes in. At least they're counting on it, aren't they?
I think the truck's headed to your house now with the delivery of many cases. Back on Brindamore. Drops it on back. Dykhouse a shot save. Rebound! Oh, and sprawling across was Malhotra. And the puck underneath the equipment of Richter.
You gotta love it. A scoring chance on the rush. There's nothing better in hockey than when you see a scoring chance on the rush. And Mike Richter able to make the second save. Here comes the Brindamore line. Attacking, drop pass, going to the net. Brindamore is knocked out of the way, and there's the rebound shot by Renberg. And he's robbed by Mike Richter. The Flyers close to a 1-goal lead.
Malhotra to take the draw. The 18-year-old tangles up with the veteran Brindamore. As John mentioned in the first period, it looked like a matchup that would stick, and it has. Floated back out. Flyers can move it ahead. Thrown in by Brindamore. They set their bayonets and go after it. Drilled back along. Brindamore up with it there. Around behind. Worked over was Kovalenko. Pivoting with it is Renberg. Michael Renberg shuttles it back on for Kovalenko. With a shot that's blocked away by Richter. Chopped on by Knuppel, and it popped back to neutral ice. The Flyers are the team bringing it right now. Thrown on by Richardson. Back to Brindamore. Wide of the cage and gotten by Rich Brennan. Worked back ahead now for Stevens. Stevens plopped it back on Van Beesbroek. Decides to hang on. Third period shots are 7-1 Philadelphia. This game is tied.
5-5, 8:26 to go in the third period.
Won by Bureau. Sent around by Desjardins. Punched back down by Colin Forbes.
Flyers want to change on the fly here. They got Lindros in his line out against the very young centerman Dubé. There.
Lindros fed inside of the net, and the shot was shanked. Standing at the front was Roman Beaupot, and he only got a piece of it. Fed around now to Lindros. Tried for Beaupot. Down to the ice he went. Ender up with it. Whips it back off the glass, and it caroms back down.
The Flyers changed on the fly, and it nearly worked for them. The Rangers now quickly change their guys as the Rangers are called for icing. It was a good face-off win by Bureau. He went right to the bench. Immediately, Lindros jumped on the ice and flew down the ice, stripped the puck from the youngster Dubé, and set up the shot on goal that was shanked just wide, or it would have been a go-ahead play. That's a play you have to pull off on the road. So Lindros wasn't against Nedved. He wasn't against Leach. He wasn't against Samuelsson. It was some other guys finally, and it very nearly paid off.
Flyers have dominated faceoffs. They've won 46 out of the 66 conducted this afternoon. Lindros in on this draw opposite Nedved. Jones and Leclerc are out there. All three have had goals today for the Flyers. Desjardins and Terry in the defense. Leach matched up with Opie Samuelsson on defense for the Rangers. Puck chipped to the front. Leach able to fish it away for Graves. Graves with a pair of goals in this game. The same for Nedved. Knifed on down, Graves up with it. So you've got the productive line against the productive line right now.
You know, with all the power plays we've seen in the game, the matchups haven't been really apparent. Now we're seeing a stretch of time without a power play. So you're seeing Malhotra against Brind'Amour. You're seeing Big Eric Lindros go against Petr Nedved. So the matchups are a little more, stable, a little more active, similar. We saw Bureau up against Dubé until Bureau pulled a sneaky and went right to the bench for Lindros, and it almost worked for the Flyers.
See the shots. 7 of 8 have been taken by Philadelphia. Both the goals in this period have come from them. Swung back in off of Keith Jones. Jones able to block it back in deep. Richter decides to come out for this one. Swings it along, and Jones, the first one there, hit hard by Leach, and the puck knocked ahead. Graves went down. There will be a penalty. Desjardins will get it. So a 5-5 contest. Petr Nedved with 2 goals today has drawn a penalty to the Philadelphia Flyers and Eric Desjardins. And the Rangers with a chance to break the tie. The hustle by Nedved, a 2-goal scorer in this game.
And you can see Desjardins' feet were stationary. The hook was on. Nedved's down. The Rangers' power play has given him 3 goals in the game, but the Flyers have scored the last 3 to tie.
The big line for the Flyers, Jones, Lindberg, and Leclerc with goals. Renberg as well as Langkow. Graves and Nedved with a pair. Scott Fraser with 1. Desjardins, the tripping call. 7:22 to go. The Rangers' power play is 3 for 5 with 7 shots.
And one of the key goals in this game, Mike, was when Langkow was able to score a shorthanded goal. The Flyers were down by 3. The Rangers on a power play, and Langkow scored a shorthanded goal, and the Flyers have come right back to tie it.
John Van Beesbrook, the ex-Rangers goaltender, kept alive by Schneider. Dealt in by Nedved. Graves for Nedved, and it went off his stick and then wide as he was worked over pretty well by Therrien. On to the back, it's forced back over to Matthew Schneider. Schneider hands it across to Leach, worked on in deep for Graves. Looking for McLean, gave it to Leach. Touch pass back over to Schneider. Schneider back right on for control by Nedved. On the cycle now to John McLean. McLean looking over the traffic. Graves in front of the goalkeeper, Van Beesbrook. Leach, side of it, score!
In this game, and this is another one. Therrien, the defenseman, is pulled all the way out to the blue line. 3-on-2 down low, and a quick pass shot by Nedved. And the Rangers' power plays work today because they have shot the puck off the pass. Graves in front, Leach with a primary assist, and Nedved, he gets his 3rd. And there's dozens of hats on the ice right now. 6:28 to go, and this has been a specialty teams bonanza. The Flyers with 2 power play goals and a shorthanded goal. The Rangers with 4 power play goals. Nedved scores, and the Rangers lead by 1.
There's been an epidemic of this kind of game in the recent weeks here in the NHL, too.
Well, a 5-5 tie the other night with Florida playing in Detroit was highly entertaining. Pavel Bure scored on a penalty shot in that game.
Desjardins jammed it behind. Therrien up with it there. It's fed back ahead for a little tap on. Chased off was Leclerc. Spun it through Lindros and back down for Leach. Brian Leach flipped it away from Leclerc. Crunching in is Jones. Puck popped back to neutral ice. 6 minutes to go. The clock the enemy of the Flyers, at least for now. 17 face-off wins to 5 for the Flyers in this third period. Lindros a drive, and the shot went wide. Drilled back along to the point and pitched high to the glass. It is Lindros there. He's got Leclerc. Dumped it around behind the ducking referee, Rob Schick. Leclerc put it off the back of the goal. Lindros tries to stash one from behind, and it's held in a big pile up at the crease.
And look at John McLean bent over in the corner as everybody scrums in front of the net. McLean's playing with that burner. He's got a nerve problem by his neck and shoulder. He was on the backboards with, I think, Leclerc. He had one hand on his stick, and the other arm's got no strength in it. And, man, you know, you talked about McGillis for Philadelphia playing with an awfully sore neck. McLean, look at the face. He's playing with an awfully sore neck. These guys are war horses. Now, you're going to see the right arm of McLean. See how it's just hanging back? It's not on Leclerc. He's got no strength in that arm. Now, Lindros will try the wraparound that stopped. Schneider tackles his man in front. Now, you're going to see McLean skate behind the net, hunched over. I don't know if we quite see him just yet.
Of teams there will be. The Flyers currently with 73 points. Ottawa and New Jersey, which won today, have 74. Toronto 73, and if Pittsburgh comes back and beats Washington, the Penguins will have 73. Terrific.
Yeah, when you have a great race at the top and the bottom. Yeah, terrific is the proper word.
Taken by Langkow, worked over to Brindamore, wiped out. Coming forward is Ulf Samuelsson, flipped it along, and it's steered out by Savard. McGillis back across to Tertichny. Both teams are a man short for another minute and a half. Just over 5 minutes to play regulation time. Leach behind. Down he went. Penalty coming up. It'll be on Langkow. Delayed penalty call. Off the ice comes Richter for the extra attacker, and he wastes it to the glass. But the first one there is Sundstrom. And then it's touched away from him, and so we get the stopping. We'll return with another power play right after this. Yeah, just wake up with a sinus headache and I go right for the extra strength Tylenol. But this guy, it's amazing. Worked on back now for Graves. On back to Leach. Fired off the wall. Stepping to it is Therrien. A 4-on-3 power play. 50 seconds left on the coincidental minors. Jones will be coming back, and so will Schneider. Nedved. Pretty deliberate now. This doesn't happen too often. 4-on-3. Nedved tipped, and it's blocked down by Desjardins and shuttled back out again by Lindros.
You can be a little more deliberate with a 4-on-3 because there's so much more room out there to try and make plays.
Rangers power play 4 for 6. 4 for 6 with 8 shots on goal. Half of them have become goals. Leach banged it around for Adam Graves, looking for the hat trick himself. 10 seconds from now, it'll be a 5-on-4. Just 3:40 to go regulation time. If they're tied, a 5-minute sudden death overtime period. Nedved crosses. Peter Nedved got it through to Leach. Leach cruising in, dropped it, but it's Jones who will play it back down. I'll bet Jones yelled for it, too.
He might have. He might have.
Because Brian Leach doesn't make an obvious pass like that.
He was in shooting area, prime shooting area.
It is McLean. There's very little time to detect whether it's a familiar voice, too. They all sort of blend in. Tamer with a pass across that's chipped on now for Stevens. 22 seconds left on the power play. That's a 5-on-4. The takeaway and the lift back out by Tertichny. Handed back over for Matthew Schneider. Banked one off Stevens, paddled away by Van Beesbroek. Stevens scaled it around behind. Savard lost it there. Penalty time almost up, down to the last 7 on Langkow's minor, and it's whipped down for the tap by Richter.
This will give the Flyers about 2:45 to try and tie it up. Mission accomplished. Penalty kill does the job.
Desjardins knocked it down, then had to fiddle it away from Sundstrom, but couldn't. Turn around attempt by Knuble, and he'd gone in after making the pivot and just couldn't get it. Malhotra able to play it behind. Rammed by Therrien. Jam back to Malhotra. Look for Knuble. Jammed it around behind again. Knuble steps to it there. Twisting, trying to shake Desjardins. Put off a glass support. Sundstrom kicking at it. Coming by Malhotra again. On him is Langkow. 2.25 minutes to go. On the outside, worked on is Sundstrom. Dumped along by Knuble. Malhotra again. Boy, do the fans like this guy.
It's a big shift. 2 minutes to go on the clock now, and the Lindros line will be the next line on the ice.
Sundstrom again. Langkow on it. Therrien dumps it back along, and it's knifed on back, and the Flyers spill over the boards and get a much-needed change. Now it's Leach missing for Knuble, and it kicked back on for McGillis.
It comes down to this shift. 1-goal Ranger lead. Lindros on the ice. Leclerc's on the ice. Jones now gets out there. The same defense pairing.
Knocked away and played back in by McLean.
A correction on the defense pairing. It's McGillis along.
Tertischny's
with him, right?
Yeah. That line kept intact as it's Tamer banging it back off, and now a change, and they get Dykhouse out to work with Desjardins in the last minute 18. At the hash marks as Van Beesbrook hasn't come off yet. They steer it back in. Van Beesbrook is still in the cage at the hash marks at the other end. Around the outside, John McLean chipped it. Lifted along by Nedved. Desjardins trying to keep it in. Swatted one that popped loose, and a chance now to break away. McLean is in.
Last minute of play in the goal.
57 to go. Played back on by the Flyers. Moved back up again by Desjardins. Van Beesbrook now glides over to the bench for the extra man. Leach up with it. Turned it along to John McLean. McLean flipped it. Desjardins kept with a drive. Save Richter. Rebound on back, and it's chipped back down the ice. 37 to go, and Rod Brind'Amour goes back. No icing. Rangers make another change. Brind'Amour turns back onto Desjardins in the last 27. Bank back off for the turning Renberg. Michael Renberg able to feather it through. Brind'Amour moving back in. Hit, but he bounced off. Loose puck is lifted to the corner. Trouble there. Worked back on by Sundstrom. A 2-on-1. Malhotra ahead. Tucks the pass over, and it's offside. No goal.
9.5 seconds to go on the clock. Definite offside. You can hear the whistle. Oh, the action. Everybody in this building standing up.
Let's take a look at the check of the game, brought to you by Canada Dry. Wolf Samuelsson lines up Lindros. Got some of him. Got a minor. But look at this last play.
Offside. Malhotra's on the puck, and he's forced. Moves the puck across to Knuble. Ooh, I don't know if that was offside, Mike, when you see the replay. However, it's called. There's the puck pulled over the line.
Well, he had contact.
And Malhotra, I think, had spread eagle to blue line. However, there's 9.5 seconds to go. Timeout called. You'll hear the whistle.
Yeah, if he has any contact with the blue line with a skate after the puck is crossed, it's onside. Timeout has been called by Philadelphia.
This will not be icing. Oh, yes, it will. I thought it deflected off of somebody, and it would not be icing. It may have gone off a Flyer player before center ice. So 6.1 to go, and Van Beesbrook will have to step back in to the net. He now leaves the bench. The slap shot was what the Flyers wanted. They spread their people out. They started skating like crazy. They wanted to throw the puck deep and recover it and get it to the net.
It's as entertaining as this. It'll be marvelous wherever they go. Today's new Dodge player of the game is Petr Nedved. The hat trick, the second of his career, the first of this year. 11 goals scored. The Rangers got the last one. Nedved specifically. They're 3 points out of the last playoff berth. We'll return to Madison Square Garden in a moment.
For the Philadelphia Flyers, and I'd really like to welcome a